Evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I got to say something. I got to say thank you. Thank you for being in the services because I am eternally grateful for what you guys do. Not just you guys, but everybody else above you. Remembrance Day was just last week, but we don't remember you guys enough. What you do is you do it for reasons that not everybody can do. So I thank you for that. Secondly, I want to thank you for having me here tonight. It's my honor and my pleasure to be here speaking to such a great group of people. My name's Coach Romany, teacher, father of 4 beautiful daughters, grandfather to a boy and a girl, coach, author, speaker. I like to sum it up by saying, really, I believe my purpose is to inspire kids to be the best person they can be. I'm going to start with 2 little lines. You're playing small. It's not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about you shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. Now, those 2 lines are from a poem by Marianne Williamson called The Deepest Fear. I first heard it when I watched this movie, Coach Carter. And that poem talks about the importance of being different and why it's great to be different. As leaders and band members, for that matter, you guys are different. Continue to be that. Be a leader. When I'm talking about movie quotes, I can't help. This one came to my head right away, and I'm thinking, how do I get it in here? It's from Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Anybody seen the movie A Few Good Men? Yes, I love that movie. When you watch it, his character talks about why he's willing to be a leader and the things he's willing to do to be a leader. His actions aren't great. I'm not going to recommend his actions. But his character knew that as a leader, he had to stand out. It's not natural for us to be like everybody else. However, in nature, there is a group of animals that are made to look alike, specifically zebras. You see, when you get a group of zebras together in a pack, you can't tell one from the other. They all just blend together. Nature does that as a form of adaptation so that the lions can't get them. But it made life difficult for a group of people who study things for a living, scientists. These scientists couldn't get their studies done because they kept getting all these zebras confused. So they said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put red dots on these zebras. So they put some dots on these zebras. Sure enough, they got their studies done. They were very happy about it. But a couple of lions were also very happy because these lions got themselves an easy lunch, easy pickings. Why am I telling you that? One, we went against nature. Nature didn't intend for the zebras to stand out. We went against nature's intentions. 2, we're not zebras. We were made to stand out. We were created to stand out. We were created to be different. That's where greatness comes from. That's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So as a coach and a teacher for the past 20 plus years, I've taught my players and my students how to be great, worked with them. To do that, I had to do some studying first. So I studied people, great habits of great leaders, great coaches. 4 that really stuck in my mind are Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky from Brantford, Walt Disney, and Steve Jobs. They had a lot of things in common. They work hard, they follow a process, and they're willing to be different. Who can tell me who Steve Jobs is? Yes. The inventor of Apple. Absolutely. So Steve one day was walking around the campus where he was working, carrying this big thing around. You guys don't even know what it is, but this big thing called a boombox or a radio, listening to his music. Steve said, I'm tired of carrying this thing around all day long. I want people to have music in their pockets. People said, Steve, you're crazy, man. You can't do that. It's not the way it's done. Steve said, my goal is to improve the lives of others. I'm going to do it. Went out, got to work. First thing invented in terms of music was the iPod. Not the pad that you guys are used to. This little iPod thing. Then he invented the iPod Nano, then the iPod Shuffle, eventually the iPhone, the original iPhone. I think we all know how great cell phones are. You folks are fortunate you don't know a life without cell phones. Captain and I know life without cell phones. Okay, we know what it's like not to have a cell phone. But you guys grew up with cell phones, and our world would not be the same if Steve wasn't willing to be different. He wasn't willing to say, I'm going to be like everybody else. No, Steve went out and made that difference. Who's got a favorite Disney movie from when they were younger? Yeah, we all have a favorite Disney movie. What's yours? Yeah.
It's Mulan.
Ooh, Mulan. Yes, love Mulan. What's yours? Who's got a favorite one? Yes, man.
Moana.
Moana. Yes. What about you? Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir. Hey, when you say Mufasa, everybody say Mufasa. Mufasa. You just shiver when you hear that, don't you? Okay, I love The Lion King. I watch it over and over again. Old version, new version. My kids used to cry when they watched it. But we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Walt. See, Walt, originally a comic strip artist, used to work for newspapers, got fired a couple times. He didn't care. He kept working. Finally made a little film with Mickey Mouse, a little short one. And he said, wow, I want to make a full-length cartoon movie. Of course, people said, Walt, it's not done that way. Because when Walt thought of that, movies were only with people in them. There's no thing as an hour-long cartoon. They said, people don't want to see that. And if they do, you can't make that. Walt said, well, my goal is to make children happy. So he went out and he did it. Made himself a nice Snow White movie. And the rest is history. We wouldn't have what we have without the great Walt Disney, willing to be different. They all have those things in common. As I mentioned, I've been coaching for 20 plus years and teaching for 20 plus years, working with kids. About 5 years ago, I got a chance to really delve into what it means to be great. So I'm going to give you a quick backstory. I'm not going to spend a lot of time about me. I'm going to quick backstory. So about 5 years ago, mom, breast cancer survivor for 20 years, gets this pains in her sides. Oh, so we took her to the hospital, diagnosed with liver cancer. So she's in the hospital. I'm visiting her. We're all visiting her for a while. It was in March 2020. You guys recall what happened in March 2020? Yes.
COVID-19.
Yeah. COVID came around. All of a sudden, things are normal. We're all living our lives. And then, boom! COVID comes and changes the world. Now, my mom didn't have COVID, but it affected all of us directly because the visitation rules changed, which means everybody couldn't see her. You can only see her for a certain amount of time. As a teacher, I was teaching online because of COVID. I was also the local son. So I got that privilege of visiting my mom every day. Just me. Visit her, spend some time with her. Great time spending time with mom. Eventually took her home. so she could be comfortable in her own bed. My family and I took care of her. So she passed at the end of May 2020. Sure enough, a couple months later, Dad gets diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So Dad can't take care of himself. So we had to put Dad into a retirement home. Once again, sole visitor. Once again, got to see him 4 or 5 times a week. Visiting with Dad was fun because he had the Alzheimer's, so he would tell the same story 4 or 5 times to me. Great experience. Fast forward, June 2021, 1 year and 10 days after Mom passed, Dad passed. So I'd spent the last year and a half taking care of my parents. So I'm thinking, what do I do now? I got this quandary, as I called it. My eldest daughter says to me, Dad, take care of yourself. I said, what do you mean? She goes, Dad, take care of yourself. Looked in the mirror. I was, 300 pounds. Cheeks were out to here, belly out to there. I said, I got to change. I got to change the way I do things, change the way I live. It's going to take some greatness to get there. So I went from 300 pounds to roughly around 220-ish and maintained it. During that time, I got to really live through what I preached about for years. But what it takes to be great, what it takes to achieve things in life. I posted about it on my Instagram, my TikTokies, wrote in my journal, even wrote a book about it, Be Different, Be Great. Just wanted to get it all out there. That changed me and gave me a purpose in my life now. So with all that, I was able to really, as I said, dissect the process of being great. So what's this process I keep yakking about? It comes down to 3 main steps. Acceptance/awareness, action, and accountability. Those 3 steps, you follow those 3 steps, you're going to be able to conquer anything in life. Anything at all. But before I talk about the process, I got to tell you something. You can read the books, watch the videos, follow the process. None of it's going to work if you're not being you. If you're not being your true, authentic selves. That's where the greatness happens. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the lady described it pretty nicely for me. She said, when we spend our time worrying about what other people think of us and trying to fit in, we're giving away part of ourselves. We're giving them that influence on us. She said, we deserve to give the world 100% of us. Not 50% because we're worried about fitting in. We need to give the world 100% of us. You give them 100% of you, and you're going to be able to do anything you want in life. Anything at all. So let's jump into the process. Acceptance/awareness. I had to accept the fact that I needed help to lose weight. Because I've been fighting weight issues for the last probably 30, 40 years. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Okay, but about this way, my oldest daughter's 33, and do the math from there. But I realized I wasn't always doing it right. I had to get some help. So I sat down with the trainer. She not only taught me how to lift and what machines to use, she taught me how to eat. Little things. You guys can now go on, you can talk to chat, you can talk to Google, but I like to say it's like a fire hose. Who's ever tried to drink out of a fire hose? See, Captain Thorold and I will know how to drink out of a hose. You guys don't even drink out of hoses anymore. But there's so much stuff coming at you from the internet that you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's right, what's wrong? So I sat down with a qualified trainer who also happened to be my fellow teacher with me. And while we were talking about what I ate, so I described to her how I would work out, go have my smoothies. I'd take my smoothies, I'd put in my frozen fruits, my pineapples, my blueberries, my strawberries. maybe a little bit of protein powder, some milk, and they tasted great. I gotta tell you, those were some smooth tasting smoothies. Then she said to me, she goes, Nigel, are you aware how much carbs are in your fruit? I said, what? She says, yeah. It turns out, without getting whole nutritional with you, all that work I was doing was being dismissed because I was eating way too many carbohydrates and not enough protein. So that little change changed everything. I still have my smoothies, but now I have it with a handful of spinach, some water. I do 2 scoops of protein mix. Still tastes great, but better for me because I was willing to get the help from someone who knew what they were doing. I still had to do the work. Ain't no doubt about it. Still got to do the work. My older brother, he's going through some medical issues right now. And he walks around with his walker. Not much faster than that. But he used to love riding his bike. So earlier in the summertime, he goes to me, bro, I want to ride my bike. I said, bro, you ain't ready for your bike. Yeah, I want to ride my bike. I said, bro, you ain't ready. So we argued. I got tired of arguing. So next week, when I went to see him, brought him his bike. I said, ride it. Now, I knew he couldn't ride his bike. So you're saying, Coach, why are you making him ride his bike if he can't ride his bike? Because he had to become aware that he wasn't ready to ride his bike. He had to accept the fact that he has to work a little bit harder to be able to ride that bike again. Sometimes you got to force that acceptance on people. Doesn't always happen right away. As leaders and senior cadets, people are going to follow you just because of your position. Accept that. Okay? Accept the fact that you are leaders. Okay? Accept that they are going to follow you just because of who you are. That also means that you're going to have to work a little bit harder. You're going to have to accept the fact that your standards are going to be different. Your standards are going to be higher than theirs. Once you're aware of those things, you can make those changes. Okay? With your thumbs. Show me if you're a great leader / band member, an / band member leader, or Don't show everybody, just put it in front of you. I want to see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to tell you something, folks. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to tell you 2 things. First thing is, that's awesome that you're aware of the type of leader, type of band member that you are. Because the fact that you're aware of it, that's your first step to improvement. That's your first step to improvement, is being aware that you're not perfect yet. And you're not quite great to your own standards yet. Because once you're aware of that, you can start making those changes. The other thing I want to tell you is, if you went thumbs up today, it's okay. It is perfectly okay. I don't want to get into my self-esteem talk, but I'm going to tell you that once you're aware that every day is not going to be a great day, you can keep going. Once you're aware that you're not great yet, that whole growth mindset schools try to throw at you, you're going to be there. I always tell people, be aware of where you are. Be aware of your situation. Accept the fact that you're not great. Accept the fact that you're going to play. I'm not even going to go into musical terms because I'm terrible. My music consists of hidden play. But accept the fact you're not quite where you want to be. But do not ever settle for that. Do not ever settle for your situation. I've seen it so many times. Family, friends, students, players, whoever. Oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, I'm just going to give up. No, don't settle. You don't have to settle for who you are. You can always be better. So accept who you are, but don't settle for who you are. Always be striving to be awesome. Always be striving to be great. Take care of that. Boom! We took care of acceptance/awareness. Now we get to move on to the action. Action Jackson. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how to train people, because that ain't my specialty. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to play instruments, because that definitely ain't my specialty. But I'm going to tell you a couple quick things about work. It's going to help you in any situation. You guys have a code you follow? What is it?
The Cadet Code of Conduct.
Yeah, what is it? Is it a long phrase or is it a short phrase?
It's got a couple points.
What are the main points?
Some of the main points, like, you don't want to be disrespectful to other cadets. So like no hate speech or anything.
Respect. What else?
I don't really remember all of it.
What are some of the other key points of your code?
Respect. No harmful substances.
Ooh, clean. Clean body.
Behavior. We also have a lot of organization, keeping to the chain of command.
Excellent. Okay. Codes. Okay. Codes are so important because they help you. Not since they help you, they guide you in your decision making. They guide you when you have a tough decision to make. Me, myself and I, movie. I have a code I follow. I call it chop wood, carry water. It's on all my tags. It's my hashtag for all my posts. That's what I follow in my life. I first learned about that phrase when I read a book by a Zen master. So he tells a story about these Tibetan monks who lived up in the mountains. But they had no electricity. They had no running water. Every day, they had to go down to the woods, down to the forest, and chop their wood and carry it back so they could heat their stove, heat their water, heat the house. At the same time, they had to go down the river and get buckets of water so they would have fresh water to drink, fresh water to cook, fresh water to bathe, all the things that we need water for. They didn't do it because they liked it. They didn't do it for fitness. They did it for survival. So every day they would chop wood and carry water. Me personally, my chop wood and carry water is I exercise regularly, 5-6 times a week. Actually, sometimes 7, but I'm just cuckoo that way. And eating properly. When I do those things, I'm successful in reaching my goals. For you folks, following your code is what's going to guide you. That's what's going to guide you tonight in your life. Following your code. The other thing that's going to help you is a combination of your mind and your eyes and how you use them together and how you view things. Got a text from one of my girls this week, daughter. She said, "Dad, can you help me take the tires out of my car, put them in the shed?" My first response was, "Dear, I got so many things to do." But then I realized she's asking me because I'm able to do it. When I was her age, my dad wasn't able to do it. So I think that I'm grateful that I was able to do that because it was an opportunity for me. When my players have to go to practice, band, you have to practice. Am I right? Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to view practice as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get better. Practice is an opportunity. It's no longer an obstacle. It's an opportunity. When you view things as opportunities and not obstacles, your whole world's going to open up. You get to say, I get to do these things. I get to get better at music. My students hate it because I get to read every day. View it as an opportunity. Now, with seniors, do you guys ever have to give feedback to people? Do you ever have to discipline anybody? Do you like it? No. Nobody likes giving discipline. As much as we may smile when we give it sometimes, we don't always like it. But what you're doing when you're giving feedback and disciplining somebody, you're doing two things. One, you're making them better. And that's the goal of a leader, is to make people better. Two, you're building that relationship. So I want you to view feedback as an opportunity to develop somebody else and to develop a relationship. Change the way you look at it. Change the way you look at it. That's going to take your cadets from people who have to follow you to people who want to follow you. When you start building that relationship, that's the next level. Action. I need 3 senior volunteers. Come on. Give me 3 of you. Yeah, you just started the gym. Come on. Come on. Come on. Up here at the front. Now give me 10 push-ups.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Let's go. Give me 10. Give me 10.
Why can't I go up? I can't eat. Wait. There's a tiny one. It's like...
Good job, folks. Thank you. Now, you guys just did normal push-ups, right? Okay. As leaders, you guys got to make sure you can do those push-ups. Because you can't ask your cadets to knock out push-ups unless you can do them. Am I right? Okay. You got to be authentic. You guys have how many do you have to do in a minute?
A minute?
Do you guys have what's your standard, or you just got to be able to do them?
We don't really hand out that kind of punishments.
No, there's not punishment. It's discipline.
Or yeah, we don't really do that.
All right.
It's not physical.
So I'm going to show you something. Let's go. Push-ups here. Okay, you do them here. Put your hands in here. Okay, a little bit back inside, closer to your chest, and then come down. Put those arms out. Feel the difference?
Oh yeah.
Come on, let's go. Give me 3 more. Good job. Okay? Thank you. So when you start getting comfortable with the regular push-ups, okay, you start doing variations on them. Okay? That's how you make it better. Okay? You can't ask your cadets, you guys may not have physical attributes, right? Okay? But you can't ask your cadets or anybody who follows you to do something if you can't do it yourself. That's why I would never be a good band leader. I could do this probably, okay? But I couldn't play an instrument. Michael Jordan was famous for that. He worked so hard in practice that people just had to follow him because he set the example. So as leaders, you're going to set that example by being that model. When I say model, I don't mean role model. Because a role model is someone you view from afar. Okay? Someone you just, Michael's my role model. I've never met the guy. You guys are work models because people can see you directly. They can model their actions after you. That's what it means to be a leader. You get them to follow because when they follow your examples, your actions will always speak louder than words. As seniors, you can't ask your cadets, your squadron to come and be on time if you're not here 5 minutes early. You can't show up 5 minutes late if you're telling your squadron to be on time. You have to be further. Set your standards higher than them. Set that example for them. So boom, we just took care of some action for you. Okay. The last step of the process, but I'm going to talk about how we can apply it to you guys, is what I call accountability. It's one that is often, probably too often, neglected. Everybody's going to talk to you about action because that's easy to talk about it. Accountability means being responsible for your actions. It means, I didn't do right. I got to do better. You guys all know about self-accountability, otherwise you wouldn't be seniors. In the services, you guys probably heard you got to be accountable to the person beside you. Am I right? Okay, as a band member, you got to be accountable to the person beside you. You got to make sure you're staying on tune or staying on pace, or you're messing everybody up. That one person plays a solo when they're not supposed to be playing. I'm not looking at you personally. That person plays a solo when there's supposed to be a duet. It ain't working right. Excuse me for my music terminology. But you got to be together. So you got to be accountable to each other. Sometimes there's group accountability. Okay, who's ever had it when their squadron or their band's just messed up? Okay, it's not just one person's fault though. It's often a collective. I gave my students an assignment last year on biographies. Guess what class I'm teaching this year? I taught last year too. Anybody want to guess? Go ahead.
76.
Close. Flip it around. You're not allowed to say it? All right, excellent. I had to band in like my first week of school too. Okay? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is my class I got this year. So anyways, I gave them a thank you for not saying it. I love that 7.6. I'm going to start using that. I'm going to start using that one. I gave them an assignment on biographies, and they went out and they typed them out, put their pictures in it, I had it formatted, and they looked nice. They were pretty. Who's ever had an assignment that looked really pretty when you just handed it in? Right? Yeah, that feels good, doesn't it? So they looked so nice. I put them on the wall. Then I read them. Woo! I made them read them. Woo! We sat down and we all agreed on one thing. They were weak. They were, woo! I didn't get mad at them because I knew that I hadn't taught them properly. I haven't given them enough instructions. I haven't prepared them. And they knew they hadn't listened properly. And they didn't do the work that was required of them. So we took that group accountability and said, we got to do a whole lot better than this. So it wasn't just one person being accountable for the actions. It was our group taking responsibility. Because when you can take responsibility as a group, everything else is going to move forward for you. Like I said, accountability comes in so many forms. As leaders, the higher you rise, the higher your accountability goes. Because you're no longer accountable to yourself. You're accountable to your fellow leaders. You're accountable to your squadron. You're accountable to the people above. Know that. Okay, your accountability is going to rise. Leaders, sometimes we have these accountability factors. And it changes you. Coached the team last year, a couple years ago. We had a game in town. Got a note from the parent after the game. She said, Coach, sorry for not following the 24-hour rule. Because the basketball coach, we have a rule which you can't contact us for 24 hours after a game. because of emotionals. She said, I have to apologize. But what are you doing? You're ruining this poor girl's confidence. Looked at the game film, so I used to tape my games. I was like, whoa. One girl played 29 minutes of a 32-minute game, which should never, ever happen when I have 10 players on my team. But more importantly, or more dramatically, I had 2 girls playing 5 minutes only. And they weren't 5-minute players. So I knew something was out of whack. Sat down with the ladies next day and said, ladies, coach apologizes. Coach had his head up his backside. He wanted to win too much. He got away from his values. His values are making you better people, better players, and a better team. Won't happen again. I was fortunate that there's such a great group of ladies that they forgave me. 3 weeks later, we played the same team. I actually didn't even win the first game. But my 5-minute players were dramatic parts of the win. And I wasn't happy so much about the win, but the fact that I was able to get back to my values so I could handle the win or the loss. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't willing to accept the accountability, accept the feedback. Being able to accept that maybe I wasn't perfect. I had to accept the truth. Because the truth ain't always easy. It ain't always easy. Doc Rivers has a saying that you need to remember this one. Average players want to be left alone. Good players want to be coached. Great players want to be told the truth. So ask yourselves, as a leader, as a person, am I willing to tell people the truth? Am I willing and able to accept the truth? Because sometimes truth ain't easy, but the truth is required. As a leader, you got to be able to make those hard decisions. You'll be able to take that responsibility factor. When you do that, your responsibility is going to increase. People are going to accept you, trust you a whole lot more when you take that responsibility for your actions. You guys are so great here because you guys are held responsible for your actions. Do not ever blame somebody else for the choice that you made. Take responsibility for your choices. So I'm going to give you another straight fact. I drop facts all day. You're not always going to make the right decision. Sometimes you're going to make a bad decision. But accept it. Don't blame somebody else. Don't give excuses. 1, it's going to increase your trust factor. 2, it's going to make your life easier. When you say, yeah, I owned it, I made a mistake. And then you can fix it and learn from it. It's when you start making excuses, well, it happened because I was late for school and the bus was there and I didn't get a proper lunch. Don't make excuses. Own it. Got a text from my boss a couple weeks ago. Just blasted me for something. And I just replied back to her and I said, you're right. I should have did this. I'm sorry. My bad. And we moved on. We haven't even talked about it since. I could have said, well, I thought you knew about it and it was and give them like 50 million reasons about why I did it. She wasn't concerned with why I did it. The fact is I did it. I owned it and I moved on. The only reason why I remembered it is because I was talking to you about it. Own it and move on. It lets you move on. Be responsible. So that's accountability for you there. Once you know that, back to my team, I can make my changes. Okay, I knew what I needed to do, so I can be aware of my changes. Boom, I can then do the actions. Boom, I can then be accountable again. It's all how everything works together. It's all togetherness. You can't have accountability without your action. You can't be aware of what your actions are supposed to be until you know what the accountability is. Everything works together, especially with acceptance/awareness. It's probably the first thing you need to do. You guys had your woods end hike, right? Did you just get up and walk? No, you probably had a map, right? You had to know where you were and where you wanted to go. That's your acceptance and awareness. So you knew where you had to go. Those are the things in everyday life. Question for you seniors. When you guys moved from, was it level 4 you were before? To level 5, were there any changes? Yeah. I'm going to guess one of the changes was going from being a peer to a leader. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. As a teacher on the staff, I've experienced that as well. Okay. Being from a peer to a leader is, it's what I call the friendship and leadership will clash. They will clash. If you're aware of it, it makes things easier. 2 weeks ago, I'm talking about myself too much, but I want one more story. Fire alarm went off at school. Now, I'm not the principal, but I'm what's called the teacher in charge. So I was in charge. This fire alarm went off at 3:02. Our bell goes at 3:05. So nobody was happy. Fire trucks came. We knew it was a false alarm, but we still had to follow protocol. Fire trucks came, talked to the fireman. We go inside, alarm's still blaring. One of my fellow teachers comes up and wants to come inside. I said, you can't come in. What do you mean I can't come in? So-and-so and they're in. It was myself, the janitor, and I think one teacher snuck in. But I had to say to her, you can't come in. She was not happy. In fact, it took her a week before she even said hi to me again. But it didn't matter, because my responsibility was the safety of our students and our staff, of everybody else. It's my responsibility is not to make her happy. My responsibility is to do what's right. So that's when you're going to have those tough decisions you have to make. How do you make them? You be firm in your actions and fair in your communications. Firm in your actions, fair in your communications. Then they will start to follow you. The other thing you need to be aware of, I give this piece of advice particularly to my student teachers that come in. You need to earn their respect first. You need to earn their respect. Don't worry about whether they like you or not. Because once you get their respect, then you will get their admiration. But you can't, it's very difficult, I'm going to say you can't. It's very difficult to go from being liked to being respected. You be respected first as leaders. That's why you're a leader. You're not that person who's going to joke around. Well, you joke around, but you guys do serious stuff here. Respect before admiration. Then things will come into play. Accountability, boom, you take care of everything. You see how your results are doing. Check in with your squad. Maybe get someone who's new, ask them how you're doing. Say, hey, ask someone you trust, get that feedback from them. Okay. The other thing you're going to have as leaders, you're going to get these times where you're going, oh my gosh, like, those frustrating moments when they just can't get it right. You're going to get those moments when that person's going, and they're just getting it completely wrong. And you're going to say to yourself, why can't they do that? It's easy. I can do it with my eyes closed. And you're going to have an inclination to step in and do it for them. No. A leader's job is not only develop people, but developing leaders. You do that by having the ability to delegate responsibilities. Not meaningless tasks, tasks that are going to help them develop. Challenge them, teach them. There's always a fine level of how far do you push somebody. And a lot of that depends on the situation. For me, I don't as a coach, I would do it in practice when nobody was going to be harmed. Have them try new things in practice. So when the game came, they were ready. So maybe it's when it's not going to be a life-threatening situation, when it's not going to affect the results of the game. Have them try something new. That's when you challenge them. Put them in a position where they are going to fail. So when they fail, you can show them where they failed, and they can learn from their failures. You want to delegate them responsibilities, and you want to empower them to be responsible. One of the reasons I think my team was successful and we got along so well is I empowered them all the time. Before the game, you guys know how they have warm-ups and whatever. I don't even know what my teams did for warm-ups. They designed it themselves. I said, you got to get shooting and layups in. And they designed their whole 20-minute warm-up themselves. They would call the plays, the inbound plays by themselves. Because I trusted that, I prepared them enough to do that. So as leaders, you got to learn to trust the people beneath you, that they know what they're doing. Then you can start building yourself some leaders. As a leader, another thing you're going to have to accept is it's going to get lonely sometimes. Okay? Sometimes it will be lonely because not everybody knows what you're going through. You can be surrounded with a room full of people and still be lonely because they don't know what you're going through. The only people who know what you're going through are your fellow leaders. Everybody doesn't know. And everybody doesn't always need to know, but be aware that it will be lonely. But know that if you're doing the right thing, it will work out. It's going to work out. Another key feature of a good leader is communication. Communication. Clear, concise, and calm. I don't know if they ever put you guys in stressful situations. I presume they do. Okay, where things are just crazy. Everything's going crazy. Oh my gosh, I got to take care of this. I got to do this. I got to do that. Your cadets will follow your lead. Your cadets will follow how you react to situations. If you react like, come on, people, come on, come on, come on, woo! They're not going to know what's going on. Things get crazy. You have to realize that and internalize and be calm. That's where the adrenaline really kicks in. You got to internalize and be calm. Take a second or two to breathe. Now, I'm not saying a 10-minute meditation. That's not what I'm calling for here. I'm saying a second or two to breathe, assess the situation, and then you can make those changes. You can give those clear instructions as to what to do. Breathing is going to be so, so important. Most accidents happen when people panic. We have any drivers in here? We have the driver's license yet? Okay. Those of you are probably close to it. Snow time, winter's coming. You're going to hear the instructor say, if you get into a slide, steer in the direction of the slide. The reason why you do that is if you try to turn your car when it's sliding the other way, the backside's just going to flip around doing this fishtail. You need to let the car get in control, and then you can steer out of it. So when you're sliding, don't panic and scream. Just be calm, unless there's a big cliff over there. Then you just roll out. Okay? So that's what it means to take care and be a leader. All right? You guys are some great leaders. You guys got any questions? No? Okay. You got some processes we follow here. I loved your attention today. Okay? Am I at an hour? I think I started early, didn't I?
Yeah, no. Whenever you're ready. Like,
Okay.
you don't really have a time.
Oh, awesome. I shouldn't. I'll keep talking forever. Give me a second here. I do have to congratulate you guys. This is going to look so good on a resume. But It's going to help you so much more in life. Whether you go on, continue in the cadets or not, or whether you, whatever you do, just being here tonight, you guys are already great. You guys have already made great choices by being here. You're not out at the mall. You're not out on your phones. So you guys need to celebrate that. You're smiling like you're on your phone. All right. Those are the choices that you make that are going to make a difference down the road. I've seen it. Like I said, I've coached forever. The hardest players on my floor, hardest workers, I should say, I look at them now and they're excelling in their jobs and their careers because of the things they learned from playing sports, similar to what you guys learn in cadets. Perseverance, goal setting, time management, teamwork. Those are the things that are going to carry you forward. So never mind the resume factor. You guys are destined for success. That's all I got for you today, folks. Okay. You got any questions? Come on, no questions for Coach? Yes.
What grade level do you teach for?
Oh, God, I thought you were going to think. My last time I coached was they're in 9. I did a grade 8 team last year. Before that, my team, I had them in 11, 12, 10, grade 10, grade 9, grade 7, and 6 because that COVID thing came along. So I've coached anywhere from U10s to U19s, boys and girls. I coached my daughters for a lot of years, and I got tired of coaching one because she was driving me crazy. And then, one more lesson. Sorry, one more lesson. Objective. I knew that was something I had to say. When you are leaders, you got to be objective because you reminded me of my basketball team. You got to be able to make those decisions that might upset people. I actually stopped coaching that one team I had for 4 years. They got me these shoes that say coach on them. Okay. I actually stopped coaching them because I found myself not being objective with them anymore. They were like $12 I had that to add my other 4. So they needed to hear another voice. And I knew I wasn't doing them justice because I was not being objective with the decisions I was making for them. So yeah, you have to be objective. Don't forget respect first, then admiration. Great question. Okay. All right. Thank you, folks.
Well, thank you, Coach. Please join me in giving a big round of applause. Thank you so much. You might know that, they are under, we teach leadership.
Yeah.
And cadets. And please don't understand their silence as disinterest. It's just that they know these things and they processed it. And I'm pretty sure you all thought of examples of your own situations, and that's great because there is this intersection between what we teach you and what you hear from outside leaders or speakers that have been in the real world, and that's not textbook, right? This is real life, right? And I think that the overall message that we heard tonight was be yourself, right? Whatever is in you, use that to develop yourself, right? To grow, right? Coach?
Absolutely.
That's what we take away. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
energy, for the time, and hope
Yeah.
you-
No, to support you there is being a leader. All this stuff is not new.
yeah.
It's not really new. And I don't claim to have any secret sauce, so to speak. But sometimes when you hear it from a different voice,
Absolutely.
it makes a huge difference. I used to bring in guest coaches for my team, and they would say the same thing I was saying 20 times. And the girls would listen.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not always about learning something. It's about reinforcing what you guys already know and taking what you've learned and know that it works not just in cadets. It works outside in the real world as well.
Okay, great. So band, you can go and practice some more. Seniors, you can stay. We can have a chat afterwards. And coach.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks again. No, it was a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Is this what you came up with? Well,